Hey guys, this is the story of Don Fury Studio. Hope you like it. 1995 was another amazing year at Don Fury Studio. And it was a big year for Rec Age Records. We did the Dead Man Walking LP for YUPPICIDE, the Buzzy LP for Bad Trip, and the Green Spock Ears double 7-inch for STILLSUIT. YUPPICIDE was at the top of its game at that moment in time, and that's a great record for them. The Buzzy LP is also a really good representation of what the Don Fury Studio sounded like in 1995. We'll talk a little bit more about STILLSUIT and the Green Spock Ears double 7-inch in a bit. We also did CD LPs for Terminal Confusion on Mangler Records, for ICU on Radical Records. We did the Blanks 77 Killer Blanks CD on Honey Records. And God Is My Co-Pilot came in to do yet another CD on Making of Americans. Island Records put out 2 CD singles for Quicksand, Thorn in My Side and Delusional. Thorn in My Side got heavy rotation on FM stations, and it was a lot of fun hearing something coming out of that little basement on Spring Street all over the radio. And we did the 7-inch Sawed Off But Silent EP for Spark Marker and Sub Pop Records. This is the most beautiful 7-inch I've seen. It's completely white and has an embossed cover. Really beautiful artwork. But the most amazing story of 1995 has to be the story of Civ, the band Civ. By 1995, Quicksand and Walter Schreifels were signed to Island Records, and they were managed by McGee Entertainment. That was Doc and Scott McGee, who also managed Kiss and Bon Jovi and Motley Crue. You know, the real deal. So technically, Walter couldn't start another band and sign to another label, but that didn't mean he couldn't form another band. And that's exactly what happened. So I got the call from Walter. He goes, Fury, I'm coming down with Civ, with Sammy, with Arthur, and we're going to make a couple of new recordings. I was like, cool, that sounds great. So we did 2 new songs, Can't Wait 1 Minute More and Et tu Brute. Chris Gibson helped out with recording vocals on both those songs. So we mixed the record at DFS, and then something wild happened. Marco Siega was one of the guitar players of Bad Trip, and he had been producing commercial video for a while. When he heard about the new band, Civ, Marco suggested doing a video, like a DIY video, for one of the songs. And that's exactly what they did. They pooled some money, and Marcos pulled in some favors, and they shot a video out in Long Island City for Can't Wait 1 Minute More. The video was a takeoff on daytime talk shows, and they had a lot of fun with it. Civ played the host. The video and the song were both big hits, and what happened next was nuts. Without ever playing a show, the band Civ was signed by Jason Flom to his label, Lava Atlantic. Jason Flom had signed Skid Row, Stone Temple Pilots, Twisted Sister, Kid Rock, and Sugar Ray. So incredible. So we got going. Charlie Garriga joined the project on guitar. Anthony Civarelli obviously was on vocals. Sam Siegler was on drums. Arthur Milios on bass. And Walter chipped in. About halfway through recording, the label decided to bring Mike Barbiero in to do mixing on the record. And that was insane. I mean, Mike had worked with James Brown. He had produced Guns N' Roses. So Walter and I would work all during the day at Don Fury Studio doing the recording sessions, and then we'd take a car service out to Long Island to Sabella Studios to work with Mike on mixing. Sabella Studios was a nice, small studio in someone's house out on Long Island with a beautiful little Neve console there. And Mike was great to work with. We learned a lot about rock and roll mixing, and he learned something about hardcore. And when we were done mixing, we got to master with George Marino at Sterling Sound. George Marino is the best as far as I'm concerned, and his resume includes Metallica, AC/DC, and Led Zeppelin, and that's just a few of them. We did have one funny thing that happened when we were working on mastering Can't Wait 1 Minute More with George Marino. The original mix was from Don Fury's studio, and when Sammy takes his snare break in the middle of the song, we used the Effectron 2, which we used a lot on the Gorilla Biscuits album, to make the phasing sound of the snare drum. And it was a good sound. People liked it, and people got used to hearing it. When we went out to Sabella Studios and mixed with Mike Barbiero, they didn't have an Effectron 2. So we just used whatever we could use in the studio and tried to get as close as possible to the sound. And we did a whole bunch of versions just to see if we could get one that we liked better than another. But when we were sitting down listening to the tracks and Jason Flom was there, all these heavyweights were hanging around, George Marino, Jason Flom, Scott McGee, all these guys. Jason's like, I don't like the drum fill. Where's the original drum fill? So the room went dead quiet. And I looked across the room at Mike Barbiero and I was like, this is going to suck, man. It's his mix. And we like it. So I looked over to George Marino, the mastering engineer. I says, George, I go, we did a whole bunch of these. There's like 5 or 6 of them with different, effects on the snare fill. We're going to leave the room for a second. You play all 5 or 6 of these for Jason Flom. And Jason, whichever one you like best, that's the one we're going to use. So we left the room. We came back in after a few versions, and Jason was like, use whichever one you want. Set Your Goals was really an all-star record, and everything that you could put on that was hardcore is on that record. We were laughing the whole way. Revelation Records put out 2 singles from that album. Lava Atlantic put out 2 singles from that album. And then, of course, the video was an MTV buzz clip in 1995, I think for the whole summer. It was a pretty amazing project.